Here we are again, continuing, and if you watched the last video, you know looks like I turned the camera off, turned it back on. Well, I went into the store first. We're continuing more. What does that mean? What does that include? How does that help you deal with being attacked before you can even come in the room? How does that help you deal with people that we're going to stay with the word attacked, or I may spread out to bombard, but it's going to be, I have to go first because she's in a crosswalk, and obviously I have to right away. So how does that help you deal with that? Well, it doesn't really. Not just being more. I mean, it does, but first of all, you have to realize it. Got to realize you're more, which means you have the ability to draw on more. You have the ability to not lose your mind and end up going to jail because you did something stupid. Like, there's not many INFJ'S in jail because we have too much control. Now, there are some, because there's always some. But we place too much priority on privacy and introversion, and it's hard to be an introvert successfully when you're in a social living situation, which we just don't do well in. So how does being more help? First of all, just being more helps. And you just haven't realized it. Or maybe you have and you've been using it for years. Either way, being more helps. But when you realize that you being more means that more than what? More of what? Well, it's not just tangible things that we can hold in our hand, and it's not just personality traits that we can use as tools to help us deal with the world around us. It's also, a lot of it is wrapped up in understanding. So we're more empathetic than the average human being, and because of that, I use the average loosely, by the way. Because of that extra empathy that we have, because of the extra ability we have to carry other people's crap and to try to solve it for them, which can be helpful, but it can also cost us more than it helps the other person. So there's kind of a check and balance that you need to do as an individual. But it's also, being more also means knowing that they are not more. And it's that simple. Now, I look at it like, and this is just my personal view, it's the way I kind of look at the world. I look at it kind of like I'm on a world full of monkeys. Yeah, monkeys. And some of them can do some pretty cool stuff. Stuff I can't do because I'm not a monkey. But I expect certain behaviors out of them because this is where the monkey analogy comes in. It's that it's not literal, it's just it's and it's not meant to be derogatory. It is, but it's not meant to be. Not specifically. So you expect to, it's because the analogy here is what it's monkey brain. Monkeys do things that, monkey see, monkey do, right? And it's that monkey brain. They haven't conquered. It's not just that they don't have opposable thumbs. It's that they haven't conquered let's take the ability to restrain themselves. If you don't pay the head honcho there, the leader of the pack, whatever you want to call him, or of the pod, or of the crew, whatever. Maybe the residential primatologist can insert, the right vernacular here. But if you don't pay the proper respect to the leader, he will immediately stomp your ass into the ground. Look, watch videos on it. And it's not. That is his, and for all males, it is at some time in their hardwiring to fight to be number one. And some of them leave their social group, or they may all leave. It's different with different types of, not just monkeys, but different types of animals in general. A lot of times, the males that do not win will leave the group, and they'll go find another group, and they'll fight to be the leader of that one. It's because they themselves cannot fight their own DNA, their own hardwiring. It's not a learned behavior. Goats and sheep will kill themselves for the right to mate. And then after they mate, they're so exhausted, and this is only in some species, but they're so exhausted that they just go off and die. So for us, it's like, what? What? Huh? How is that okay? That's the programming. So what I'm saying is, you are more than your programming. You have programming. We all have programming. You were either born with it or you were conditioned with it. One of the two. Nature and nurture, they're both present. Which one's dominant? That can take another 500 years to try to figure out. We've been trying to figure it out for a couple of hundred now, but if memory serves. But there's been a lot of study on it in the last 80 to 100 years. They don't know yet. I don't know. I'm not sure we'll ever know. At some point we'll have enough evidence or enough data to look at But we're all natured and we're all nurtured in some sort of way. Animals are the same way. They're all natured and they're all nurtured. Well, not all of them. You know, turtles hatch, they go swim. No nurture. But most species that are of the higher intelligence orders are nurtured in some way. It's part of being a higher order animal. But understand that your more gives you things that the other animals don't have, none of them, including the ones that are out there or out there, you know, through the window. The ones you keep seeing go by. I see them go by out the front window, but you have more than those animals too, and they're animals. We are all animals of some type. So in the same way that you have more capacity to deal with the world at hand than a monkey, you also have more capacity to deal with the world at hand than your fellow human beings. Is it a gift or a curse? Us, you know, you, me, may have an argument about that lasts another 50 years. Not much more than that. I'm already 52. I'm not going to live that much longer than 50 more years if I get lucky. Or, you know, if technology gets that good. But it helps us deal. So once we realize that we can use our own capacity to help us not be lonely, to help us not to get through those loneliest times, then we begin to find a new life in ourselves that we didn't think we had because we were too clouded trying to solve problems that we were asking the wrong questions to. Because you'll find out I don't have many answers, but I've got a lot of good questions. So let me pose this question to you, and maybe you can give me an answer. Maybe your answer will inspire me in a way I never thought possible. Who knows? How do you deal with the loneliness? How do you deal with what a lot of people call them the demons? The bad thoughts, the things that come in to haunt you, the conversations from 30 or 40 years ago that still replay in your head, word for word. How do you deal with that? I've been drowning them out. My specialty is putting my shit in a box and putting something really heavy on top of it so it can't get out for a while. And then one of my absolute favorite ways to burn through a couple of hours or a couple of days, depending on the need, gun smoke. I'm a TV buff, but I'm a black and white buff. So I'm not talking about, You know, the old dried up leather Matt Dillon that was in color for the last 10 years of the show, or 15 years of the show. I'm talking about the first 5 years. And if you really are kind of a history buff, the way I am, as far as historical TV and movies, shout out to Spenguli. Gotta watch the Spin every weekend. Favorites are the old black and whites, because they're just the best. That was back when people actually had to act. But you really want to get lost in something, and you enjoy old radio type shows, talk shows, or talking dramas, that sort of thing. Give a listen to the old Gunsmoke. It's on YouTube. Radio, I want to say it's called Radio Gold or something. Anyway, it's the old radio version of Gunsmoke, which came on in 52, I think, 51 or 52, and ran for 10 years, 9 or 10 years. And you've got all the same characters except with different actors. And I'll let you figure out who those are. But that's the way I deal with the world when there's too much input. How do you deal with the world when there's too much input? How do you turn it off? I do other things too. I go fishing. I have a bass boat, so I go fishing. I go sit in the woods by myself and just listen. No phone. I mean, I may have my phone, but it'll be turned up completely off or totally silenced with no vibration, so I won't know if it goes off. And just sit and just listen. You'd be surprised how many different things you can hear when you just sit in the woods and listen to life happen around you. But when I can't turn off the internals and I need something to drown it out, music has too much energy for me. It transfers too much emotional energy from me, from my own past. Not just the music itself, which is sometimes emotionally charged, but also the emotions that music carries from the past. And so that's an issue. But when I get flooded and I need to just drown everything out, and I can't get my brain to shut off, movies, TV, that sort of thing, the older the better. When I'm really in some serious trouble, Gunsmoke is my hero. That's where I go, because I can get lost, and it's in black and white, so it doesn't feel like it's real. Let me know what you do. I'd like to know. Maybe, like I said, maybe you'll inspire me for the next video, because let's face it, I got to drive another half hour home after I leave here. Best thing in the world, I'm fixing to go eat with my mom, supper with my mom. So we're meeting, and I'm just waiting on her to show up. Hi, Mom. And when she gets here, we're going to eat at a place I haven't eaten at, and I'm not going to tell you what it is, but it's a place I haven't eaten at in, I would say, more than 10 years. I think it was about 12 or 13 years ago was the last time I ate here. So excited. Let me know. Tell me. I'm excited to hear from you. Let me know.